Hello, I'm Paulo Shikari, CEO and co-founder of Cybercon. Thank you for joining me today. So this is our second in a two-part series on the Colonial Pipeline attack. So today we're going to give you three key observations from this incident. So first is that it is very common in infrastructure companies to have good segregation between the business side, so the traditional IT computer systems that handle things like billing, HR, and stuff like that, and the infrastructure side, so the computer systems that control the real world physical infrastructure, the pipeline, or in other industries, turbines or what have you. Now, what's interesting here is that this was an attack that was initiated likely against the business side of Colonial Pipeline, but resulted in some very devastating outcomes in the physical infrastructure. And why did that occur? The ransomware gang itself said that that was not the intended consequence. They just wanted to make money. And yet this sort of violates the normal practice of trying to keep these two as segregated as much as possible. So if this was led to an accidental quote unquote shutdown of the pipeline, why did that occur? And I think it's going to be really interesting to see as more comes out about this and investigations ensue, why did that happen? So that's probably the most interesting thing about this. I'd say number two is ransomware continues to make headlines. And this is not new. This has been going on the duration of the pandemic. You can go to the Cybercon blog page and you will see blog after blog about leveraging vulnerabilities in a ransomware attack resulting in big outcomes for the hackers. So ransomware is lucrative and continues to be so. And the pandemic and increased technology have accelerated that trend over the past 12 months. So that's number two. And number three goes right along with that, is that many of these ransomware attacks are avoidable. A lot of them have to do with vulnerabilities induced by VPN infrastructure. And many of these vulnerabilities are not only known, but the exploits behind them are known. And if you see my last video, we touch on some of the vulnerabilities used by the DarkSide ransomware gang that was responsible for the attack, and that included vulnerabilities to SonicWall's VPN. So why these keep occurring, especially in companies that maybe aren't giant global titans that can have huge cybersecurity budgets, is normally a lack of proper resourcing. It's has to do with companies being fully willing to roll the dice on a cyber attack and not make the proper investment to fix things, or viewing a successful outcome as fixing all vulnerabilities or a vast majority of them, like all highs and criticals, which is 60%. And that is not an attainable goal. And that also leads to things not being done if you don't have a humongous budget and unlimited resources like some of the top financials seem to. So anyway, those are kind of the three big takeaways in that one. How did this attack breach the gap between the business systems and operational systems of Colonial? Two is that this is telling us that ransomware is still on a really big tear lately, and that is probably going to continue for the foreseeable future. And three, ransomware attacks are indeed avoidable, but this is likely due to smaller firms not being able to make the right security investments and not properly ascertaining the costs and risks due to breach. So if you found what I said today interesting, please check out our blog. We'll cover a lot of this in the blog as well. And stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.